Yoga.
Yoga.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. Grand Rising, good morning, happy spring, happy Ostara. However you celebrate the season, we are happy to see you today. And you are here to remember to stop and breathe. It's time to smell the roses with Matt Thompson. Matt Thompson is our breathwork coach here at the PCSM Church. If you guys would like some more information on the events that we have coming up, and let me tell you, we have some really good ones coming up, visit pcsam.org, and you want to sign up for our newsletter. That is where you're going to find out about all the events in our little community, not on the Irie Bliss website, because Irie Bliss is, of course, my CBD brand, and it's always amazing to take CBD before you breathe and meditate. Shameless self-promotion. But if you do come visit my CBD store, hidden in the back, you will find an event space, a little lounge, a place where you can come and hang out and manifest and medicate before a beautiful yoga class at Open Door Yoga Studios, who we would also like to thank for donating this space to us on our Friday nights for our recovery support group, for which Matt is one of our leaders. So every Friday night, we come together, and it's an alcohol-free situation. It's definitely a judge-free situation, but we just ask that you come with an open mind, and we explore breathwork, yoga, meditation, sound healing, art therapy, and all of these programs are led by our members, which they graciously share with us in exchange for their membership. So again, we are a private club, but we are open to new members right now, and open to really anybody who's just looking for, a little bit of healing, a little bit of extra self-care in their life, maybe wants to change up their normal Friday night routine and not wake up with a hangover. So we're kind of like the anti-hangover club on Friday nights. So check us out. It's been really fun, and I feel like I've actually grown a lot as a human thanks to you humans. So thanks, Matt.
I think also it's like about developing new connections.
Absolutely.
Too,
especially
if we're trying to have that need to leave some behind and develop some more healthier ones.
I agree with that. Yeah, new connections, new friends. Yeah.
Absolutely.
To be had. So Matt, we actually are happy today. We have some 3 newbies to the breathwork scene. And so we are going to shift gears a little bit and kind of maybe bring it back to the basics, which is kind of nice, because for those who have been watching, as you know, this show has been going on for about 1.5 years, and we've been slowly progressing into these pretty full-blown 45-minute sessions. So today Matt has a chance to reintroduce breathwork to a new audience.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm going to go get comfortable. Everybody grab your water. Sometimes breathing does give you a dry mouth. That's my fair warning. All right, I'm going to go get comfy. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely go backwards a little bit. My initial intention for today was finding our inner center and how to do that, which I think we're still going to touch on that subject, but I'm not going to go into it as in depth as what I was planning. So with the breath, why is it that we want to bring this in? So in our normal day-to-day, a healthy way to breathe to help with heart coherence is nose breathing. So if we can just all fall into just breathing with our nose, with an inhale and an exhale. And I invite you to, as you inhale, to draw the breath into your stomach. And then just feel the exhale out through the nose. And when we're breathing like this intentionally, as we are now, the focus is to really fall into the breath and how it feels. So just do whatever is natural without creating any stress within the breath. And we're just going to fall into it. And we're just going to follow the pathway of the breath. Bring your full attention to the breath and how it travels. How it feels when it's going in through the nose. Is there any movement with the nostrils or the hairs? To follow the breath into the esophagus, and maybe as it makes a turn, you can place your hand on your stomach and feel the rise of the belly on the inhale. And when the exhale, follow the breath out as it travels back up and out through the nose. The sensation of the belly button going back towards the spine. Just really bring your awareness to the breath, following the pathway. And just to start, I invite you just to bring your awareness as well to the body. Like this, the rise and fall of the stomach, the rib cage, the chest, the throat. And just let everything go from the day and fall into this moment right now, just with your body, with your breath. And tune into your body right now with this breath. Can you feel the top of your head? Can you bring your attention to the very top of the head and feel any energy there? You can breathe into that area in the inhale. And just begin to notice, like, if there's any areas of tension or relaxation. And just invite you just to breathe into the eyes and just feel what's present here for you right now. If there's some tension, try and breathe into it and exhale or breathe out the tension. Let it melt. If it's already relaxed, sink a little bit deeper behind the eyes, around. How's everything around your cheeks, your jawline, your mouth, your lips, your tongue? Really just lightly scan and just become aware of how is your body feeling today. How are you feeling today? And just let everything relax and breathe it out. Let your shoulders drop. Let everything just relax and kind of give in. And then just kind of scan your arms, tricep, bicep, your elbows, forearm, right to the fingertips. Even bring your awareness to the space in between the fingers. Staying with the breath into the stomach. Let this breath become quiet. And let the breath kind of work out what's going on in the body. And just become aware of exactly how you're feeling. How's that heart space for you today? Can you feel the beating of the heart? Is it stressing out and going too fast? Can you feel it just begin to relax and soften? Can you feel the space around the heart in the chest cavity? Can you feel the energy that comes from the heart? And can you feel this energy just kind of shift around that whole cavity? And just kind of shift the attention and check your rib cage and stomach. If you need to move anything, feel free to move. If you need to make any adjustments. Sometimes if there's an area that's activated, we might just have to move it just to help release it or relax it as well too. These lower areas, the stomach, the waist, the hips. This is all areas of the body that are is important to scan thoroughly to really see what's alive in here. This is where we store a lot of trauma, a lot of our junk and tied up energy is down here. So just scan it slowly. Breathe out any discomfort and breathe into the discomfort. And then release that through the breath. And then we'll scan the legs, the knees, your feet. And just like the top of the head where I asked you to see if you had any sensations or feelings coming from the very top of your head, I also invite you as you scan the feet to see if you can feel any specific energy at the very soles of your feet, at the very bottom. And just see if you can feel anything come to life here. When we think of grounding, it's coming through the feet. We're receiving energy from the earth. Guidance, intuition, dropping into receiving. All of that information is coming from the top of your head. Divine energy, light. And what I'm going to invite you to do now for a moment is we're actually on the inhale going to breathe in through the nose and I'm going to invite you to breathe into the stomach, and then with the stomach towards the end of the inhale, I'm going to invite you to draw the energy up into the heart center and really kind of fill the chest cavity. And then we're going to exhale out through the lips this time. And as you just drop into this breath for a moment, just kind of feel it. And just let it out any way that is feeling correct for you. So we're kind of inhaling into the stomach, and then we're going to kind of feel the ribs expand and draw the energy up into the chest, and then just let it go. And just fall into this breath, breathing in through the nose, and just kind of have pursed lips lightly parted, and just let the breath go through the mouth right now. I'm going to invite you to, if you can, to maybe place your feet flat on the floor for a moment. And with the inhale, my invitation to you is to see if you can focus on drawing energy up through the feet, through the ground. And what we're going to do on this inhale with this into the stomach, expand the ribs into the chest, and then we're going to draw this energy up through your whole body. When it hits your tailbone, if you can imagine the energy going up your spine, into your head, into the top of your head. And then I just invite you to exhale and then to pull the energy from the top of your head and really push it from the head all the way back down through the spine and all the way back down to your feet. And return it to the earth. And just see if you can feel the energy traveling through the body, pulling the energy up through the body, up through the spine. Sometimes when we reach the top of the head, we can check here to see how open we are. And maybe what we're looking for here is like, can you see like a little light or like a little beam? And just relax into this. Relax into the energy. Let everything go and just tune in to the body and the energies. Really just drop into the sensation. Can you feel how this energy, if you can find this energy, how it might just relax the whole nervous system? It can really bring us into balance. Because what are we really using the breath for? And for me, it's about bringing my awareness into the body, the energies in the body, the energies around the body, about becoming aware and learning about the nervous system and how our body may react when we're activated. If someone triggers us or upsets us, or maybe even something that's overly exciting. So it's, as what was stated earlier to me today, was when something comes in, I guess it's time to I gotta sit down and actually think about it. My answer to that would be not really, no. We don't have to really sit down and dwell on it. But if a thought is coming in and maybe it's stress or work or it can be an exciting event. But can I find where my body's being activated with this thought? And so when we think of the breath, and tuning into the body, and how are we as humans reacting physically, some examples in my own journey. I was not a verbally pleasant individual, and so as I started doing this work, I found that my throat would like almost lock up, like the esophagus was closing in on me, and it became difficult to breathe. I would move into hyperventilation. My jawline, my eyes would get really tight. Issues around my addiction would come from the stomach. I would get very upset stomach and have to really go to the bathroom. And so when we think of when emotions and thoughts are coming in, we're always having a physiological reaction within the body. So the breath, when we fall into the breath and we can find the breath, it can start to create like a space, a gap, a pause from going too much into the mental. Because when we fall into the mental or overthink, or, it's almost kind of like, you know something super well, right? And you're having a conversation with someone, and all of a sudden that topic that you know really well comes up, but you can't remember the answer. And then you start to overthink, and you're thinking so hard to find this answer. And usually it never comes. And it doesn't come until we actually step away from it. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's it. And so that's creating that space that's needed, that gap, that pause. And so by becoming aware of the energy centers in the body that are being activated, and then breathing into it, sometimes this may allow for us to fall into what we call like our center channel, which is what we were just doing, breathing through the spine to the top of the head. It's this area where we can receive, where intuition comes from, and answers that we may be seeking. So if we really feel like this is going to take some thought, sometimes when we can relax into the breath and really tune into the body a little bit, and then just what comes up for you. If it's something that is work related or personal, it's related to you personally, maybe it's a relationship issue or a trigger or anything really that's coming from your external environment, right? Because we're always reaching in the external world for our comfort. This is where, when I talk about free writing can come into play here. Because if we are trying to maybe seek an answer to whatever, if we can tap into the breath tap into how the body feels and where the reaction is, and breathe into that reaction. Breathe in just like we did in the beginning, and breathe into that energy, and then with the exhale to release that, or to try and disperse or move the discomfort. And when we free write, or really allow for stuff to pop up, like almost when we can't think of that subject matter or person's name that we're trying to come up with, when we overthink it, but when we create that pause or step away, it's really intuitively the answer just comes. And this can be true and helpful with everything. And this is where the free writing helps a little bit, because if we just write whatever is coming to the mind without thinking, just whatever naturally comes out, a lot of times we may be writing incomplete sentences or just what seems like gibberish. But for myself, when I go back and kind of go over that, even a few minutes later, a lot of times the answers that I'm seeking are right there. And this is part of the pathway of what breathwork is. It's about, for me, mental healing never worked, right? Healing, trying to heal from the mind, it's what our culture does. It's how we, what we push as a society to heal from the mind. But with breathwork, we're kind of we're changing that and going into the body. Let's find the energy centers. How is our body reacting? How is our energy feeling? Could you find the energy drawing up from the feet? Could you feel anything today? Could you feel any energy that was tense or tight when we scanned the body? Or did you feel anything that was alive and felt good? So this is a new pathway, not an easy one, the hardest thing I've ever done. It's been a difficult journey, because I'm changing the way I perceive the world around me, the way I perceive the world that's within me. It's about, for myself, it's about being able to calm and relax the nervous system. Most of us, particularly here in the United States, we live in that fight or flight, very activated part of the nervous system. And we live in this state most of the day. We don't know how to slow the nervous system down. So when we think of the nervous system, let's just talk about animals, and I've done this before. Let's just take the impala, right, who gets hunted by tigers. Okay, so if you watch videos of an impala, and it initially runs, so the nervous system's activated, the heart rate's activated. It's not going to be thinking about food or anything that it needs. It's literally just in survival mode. And this is the place that most of us come from. We come from this survival mode. It's where most of our lives we've reached into. And then in this survival mode, we're reaching out into the world. If I make this much money, I'm going to feel better. If I get my next fix, I'm going to feel better. If I yell at this person, it's going to make me feel better. Or if I just eat, I'm going to feel better. We're always reaching out. And sometimes that can get linked into that we're trying to regulate that nervous system, but it's not going to help. Like sometimes for me, my addiction, I remember one of the first times I was ever in rehab, I remember saying to the person that um, makes me actually calm. And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, "You were smoking crack. How is that making you calm?" Um, but but that's what it did for me. It was kind of like that blanket that I was reaching for. And I thought it was bringing the nervous system down, but it really wasn't. So if we go back to the impala, if the impala feels as though it's going to uh, be captured, it actually goes into a freeze, and which is still a part of a more activated part of the nervous system, but they do calm down to the point where they appear dead to the animal. And so what happens here is usually the tiger may drag. It's normal for them to drag to an area where they may eat the impala. Now they may wait a few hours before they eat it. They may just be putting it somewhere to kind of store the body or whatever. But when this happens, the impala, when it realizes a moment of escape, it will reactivate into that like high intensity heart rate increases again, and it will try and escape. Now let's just say the impala gets away and survives. This is the step that we as humans are missing. And the step is we don't go back to a relaxed nervous system. We store this event in our body and it becomes trapped energy. And then we get more and more activated with this energy as it builds up over time, because then we pile up more events on top of this. What the impala does, and what we do with the body and when we use breath work, is the impala, once it realizes is free and will survive and can go back to eating, but before it goes back to its daily routine, the impala for about 15 to 30 seconds goes into a tremble, and the whole body shakes in the animal. And you can see this. There's videos showing this. And what's happening here is that the impala is working the energy out from this life-threatening situation it was just in, and it's shifting and pushing the energy out through the body and back out to the universe. And once the shaking is over, it immediately pretty much goes back to feeding, drinking water, or just grazing. And so that's a shift in the neurological system right there that animals do. And us humans just are not taught how to do this, and this is what the breath is for. So I invite you just to return back to the nose breath, breathing in and out through the nose into the stomach. And as you do this right now, how is the energy in your body? How are you feeling? Can you try and breathe into the whole body, like through every pore? Can you feel the energy around you and breathe this energy into the body as a whole? And exhale with the whole body. So this is like breathing with your body, not just coming through the nose, but feeling the prana, the energy, And how do you feel right now? How's the body feel? Can you breathe in through every pore? Can you allow for the breath to just relax? The body. Let the nervous system calm down. Let the heart become quiet and peaceful. For myself, one of the sensations when I do this is I get the sensation that like every cell in my body is being lit up. Like it just feels like it's coming to life. And it feels really good for me. And just stay with the breath into the stomach and just breathe in this comfort. Breathe in this loving energy from around you into the body. Breathe out the energy, return it to your surroundings outside the body, and just allow for yourself to become light and relaxed. Become aware of the ground that you're laying upon and sitting upon. And just let that tune in with the body. And just fall into that sensation. It's just a sensation. It's nothing separate. This is where you are in this space right now. As you just become a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit softer. Just stay with your breath and stay consciously aware of your breath. We breathe so naturally all the time. But a lot of times we don't bring in our awareness, the consciousness, the thought of breathing to help us regulate the body. And then lightly just start to wiggle and kind of start to move the body in any way that you need to for a moment. And shift things around, move it, wiggle your feet, your hips, stretch, roll your head, your shoulders, whatever is coming natural to you right now. And as you're kind of coming back, slowly open the eyes and return to the space that you're in, the room, the things in the room. So I was just kind of like today, I was just lightly, just more talking about what is breath work with some light breathing exercises. And as a reminder, when I do like a full breathwork piece, or on some of these podcasts, we do a pretty heavy 45 minutes, which we didn't really do today. But, there's a lot that goes into a 45-minute or 90-minute breathwork piece. And the story behind the intention for that breathwork piece and energy that we're shifting and awareness to the body and creating space. And even with my teachings this week or in last week with the kids that I work with, the word that we're really bringing in is pause. Creating more pauses in your life. And so as some of you know, I teach rock climbing these days, and when we climb, it's just really important to create space and a pause in between our movements and really drop into the body and see how does the body feel. And for rock climbing, when I'm doing it with the kids, it's like, do you feel like you have balance? Do you need to adjust anything? Do you feel stress? And when we can create these pauses or these gaps and fall into the breath, then we think a little bit more clearly. And in life or rock climbing, fear is going to creep in. But when we can, for myself, and I've witnessed this, when the ability to create that pause and that gap, that space in between our thoughts and our stress or our fear, and we bring it into the body, and then from here, the ability to adjust and to make any changes through the breath will sometimes result in being less reactive to an event, calming a fear down so that we can move through a movement and find success while keeping our bodies and ourselves safe. So what I wanted to do for a moment is really just kind of, there's a couple of visitors here today. You don't have to say your name, you're not like on camera, but if you feel like asking any questions, I'm just going to kind of open up the floor for a second if you want to express or ask anything, because even people out there listening, sometimes your question may resonate with someone else as well too. But if there's any feelings or thoughts or confusion or anything, if you guys have anything, you can just bring it up. But maybe this is a good reminder too. I'll come back to the inner central channel next week. Because when we think of energy, I'll just invite everyone to sit up for a moment and to kind of bring your hands together. Because when we think of energy, like we really are, we're just a soul, we're just inside this physical body, right? But our energy, we have energy around us, inside us, and it's just everywhere. So what I'm going to invite is just like a way to start exploring what is energy exactly and how can it be used. So I'm just going to invite you to bring your hands together and rub your hands together for a moment and just really rub them together. And I know we don't get much winter here in the Boston area, but let's just for a moment as we're rubbing our hands together, I would just like you to imagine making a snowball, since some places, I just want you to create a little ball and then start to pack it. Think of making a snowball. Move the hands around and just really see, can you feel the energy in between your hands? Can you allow for the ball to grow? Can you try to push into the ball to pack it tighter but feel resistance? Just that natural energy field. And I'm just going to invite you, if you can, maybe just to even stand up for a moment and to take your hands and this energy that we're feeling right now, and just to bring it around the body. And just move the hands really slow, maybe around the head. And just see if you can bring your awareness to the palms of the hands. And can you feel anything here? we all have, and you can go all around the body and move it. We can even bring in one of my practices, I'll just bring this into play for a second, is cleansing my energy. And there's a couple of things I do for that. But one is just clearing myself for the day ahead is I'll bring my elbows together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my arms over, palms coming out in front of me. And then I'm just going to sweep the energy from the top of my head and bring it around and push it away. And then I'll bring the elbows together again, cross, palms out, and I'll come from the neck and the chest area and just push and clean the area around me. You can go behind you. Bringing the elbows together again, crossing over, bending down a little bit to the stomach, hip region, and just really pushing and cleaning the area around you again. And we can do it even one more time. Bring the elbows together, crossing the hands, and then even coming down to the legs and the feet and shifting the energy. So with the breath work, bringing in energy in our nervous system, and as we tune into this, because really we're no different than an antenna that's giving off or receiving information, right? That's really what we are. And as we can tune into this, tune into the body, tune into the breath, and then sometimes really the ultimate ending for me is that I'm really present with right now. There's no past, there's no future, or if I'm thinking of the future, I'm just setting energy for the future that's getting into manifesting and living an energy that I want to be before I get there. But the more present I am right now in every situation, as I can bring this into my pathway, I'm in good space. Because I'm not allowing for the past traumas, the external world, to make me feel comfortable. I'm feeling comfortable within myself. I think we did a podcast on this the other week, right? I think it was last week or the week before where we really dove into feeling comfortable in our bodies. And when we're struggling, we're not really feeling comfortable, and that's why we're always reaching. Sorry, I brought in a little
Since
Kundalini
you had us
today.
stand up, I might as well just be
You're just gonna come and walk around me like I have a little ghost.
I'm feeling your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, how was that for you? I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, but did it resonate at all today?
Yeah, right. No, I mean, for me, meditating was always super intimidating because it's like, am I doing it right? Or,
right.
What's supposed to happen or, whatever. But I feel like when we have the breath to focus on, you naturally flow into that meditative state. You naturally let go. You naturally tap into your inner wisdom, which is connected to the flow and the greater consciousness, obviously. So, yeah, I feel ready to tackle my day after my 1.5 hour long yoga class and this breathwork class. And then on March 31st, if anybody out there has never experienced a healing sound bath, I would encourage you to please support our fundraiser. This is the kickoff for our spring season. We are going to be supporting the Bay Staters for Natural Medicine. Anybody who is excited about access to plant medicine should look into them and should consider writing to their legislators and examining some of the bills that are up right now. Yeah, we just want to write over a right to our own consciousness. That's all we're
Yeah.
fundraising for. But yeah, the sound healing is amazing. It's very not intimidating because it is just simply laying down and receiving the frequencies, which are just in and of themselves so healing. So yeah, come and pause with us. That's March 31st at 7 p.m. You can RSVP at pcsam.org. And Matt is going to be back with us on Friday, April 7th.
4th. I think it's April 4th.
April 4th?
I think it's April 4th.
I don't know. The first Friday of April, Matt will be here doing one of the full-blown breathwork sessions. So does that kind of entail like even an intermission? Do you do like 45 minutes, a pause, and then intermission, or is it the whole 90 minutes straight?
Okay. Can I go over two things real quick?
Please go over. Yeah.
Okay. So I think Sandy brought up a real important part too, if you're new to this. And a lot of times when we think of stuff, and I talked to some people over the weekend about this too, was we go into meditation. And for me, if we start to think of meditation as a more advanced technique, because a lot of times people go into meditation and they're just like, I can't quiet the mind down. How do you even do that? And a lot of people really struggle with that, and that's where the breath work comes in, when we start tuning into the body more through the breath. Then through that, creating and with some of the breath work, which we didn't do today, is allowing for thought to come in, create the pause, find where the reaction is. We didn't really dive into that too deep today, but that's how we get to the state of meditation. Is because once we start to create that gap and start to heal mind, and tune in, then we can start to become more quiet. With the full-blown breath work that you just asked about, is we do take breaks. But the breaks are different. Like the last one I did, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, we did a partner activity. I've done some stuff where it's a whole group activity. So it's not just laying down doing a guided breath work the whole time. It's usually broken up into 2 segments with an in-between gap that might be free writing, it might be a partner activity, it might just be learning, and that might put people in discomfort. Like, you may not be comfortable sitting with me and doing this activity. But when we think of these challenges that bring upon discomfort in a healthy way, but if we're trying to shift or change, or to change our life to move into more of our higher self and what we're really meant to be here for, and maybe not trapped in the hell that we've been living in for so long, we've got to step through that doorway of fear. And I think that's one of the scariest, most fearful things I've ever stepped through, is the fear of actually feeling good and trusting that,
Yeah, Matt.
So there'll be some breaks with the breath work.
Well, I like that concept of, I guess, forcing yourself into your, forcing yourself out of your comfort zone in a controlled environment, so that you have to face it. When you work through it, then you can take those tools and bring them with you when you end up in a situation that you're forced into that you didn't actually create. Right. Is that it? Which I love.
I think the other important part too is part of what I need to do for myself and for everyone who comes to these events is, create a container that's super safe for everyone, where everyone feels comfortable, safe within their bodies, safe within the space around us, safe with the walls and the other energies in the room.
That's like our number one goal at People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers, is to create that safe and sacred vibe. Definitely. Exactly. And again, you don't always have to come in perfect. You don't always, I know we always say, bring good vibes. We're hoping that by the time you leave here, you might have like a little bit of a pep in your step. But, come as you are. We are here for support for those struggling with disconnection, disassociation, PTSD, trauma, which is pretty much every single one of us. So that's why we're here. We're all recovering from something. Thank you again, Matt. This was so beautiful. And I hope that our Newbies enjoyed it. I know, Tom, I'm going to have to go
Yeah.
wake up with, next time I'm going to have him sit up, but
That's
that's
okay.
fine. That's fine. And that's something we can
No,
talk
that's
about later
normal.
is the difference
It's
between
normal.
laying down, sitting up, and
Yeah.
walking. There's so many different types of meditations, and they're all beautiful. And we actually feel very blessed that Tom felt so safe in our sacred space that he could just drift off to dreamland. So we love you guys. Thanks again, pcsam.org. Sign up for the